Okay, welcome everybody to this week's episode of the Be Revolutionary podcast. This is episode 9. We are here with Fred DeCarlis. Thank you very much. You've been on a podcast with me a couple of times, my old show, right?
Yeah.
Twice.
Had a good time.
Why did we do it twice?
Technical? You couldn't hear me the first time. Came back for a second show.
Technical difficulties. So speaking of technical difficulties, I want to give a quick shout out today to Cam, and congratulations on having your baby, Cam.
Cam's so tired he fell asleep. Wake up, Cam.
Yeah. So now he knows how I feel when we used to do the early morning podcast. So it's, but anyways, today is not about me. Today is about Fred. So Fred, welcome to the show. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
also,
having
I don't
me.
want to forget our co-host Emily Berry. Thank you so much as well for showing up. Being so prepared. Anybody who knows anything about me, actually, I even talked about a little bit of a story. I am the most disorganized person. I also did sit in front of a Zoom call today, expecting to present a presentation on branding when it's actually tomorrow. So
okay.
I was a
that's
full 24 hours
That's
early.
something I would do, Andrew. So that's an Emily Berry move. So we have a lot more in common than you think.
Yeah, I think this market is really just... shown how much I really need Rebecca. So, Rebecca, if you're listening, we thank you.
Rebecca's
Anyways,
amazing.
Emily, kick us off today.
Oh my gosh, that was such a high energy intro. So I have to match my energy levels with Andrew.
Let's
It's
see.
really
Let's do
hard.
it.
I'm trying. Okay. All right. Fred DeCarlis. I'm so excited to have you here today. We missed you last week. You're based out of Milton, Ontario,
Yep.
and you're opening Revel's 9th location.
Yes.
I found out. I saw the announcement. I was like, yes, Fred, because I know you. We met at a conference last year, and you're just a great fit for Revel. So I want to just read So you might get a little embarrassed. There's a lot of good stuff here. Fred, you're voted top 3 realtors in Milton year after year. Active contributor to your community, and you have a super successful team. Your impeccable reputation and adaptive style make you the perfect fit for Revel.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I like it.
I didn't write that line.
I think I know who wrote that line.
I think I know who wrote that line. 2018 and 19, Milton's voted you top team, first place, and you were personally voted second and third place for Milton's top favorite realtor. And we're going to talk a lot today about why, because I think you do a lot for the community. You have an awesome team, and customer service is like huge with you, which I love to talk about.
Yeah.
So let's go back, I think, just so our guests can get to know you a little bit more, because I had to get to know you and read and watch some videos, because I like you, Fred. You're super cool, but I didn't know much about Fred.
He's not a gloater. He's very, very humble.
He's a very humble guy.
I think that's why. Because you're so used to me
He's
gloating
just a nice
about
guy.
everything, right? I'm so good. I'm the best. I'm the
You're
best.
a nice guy, too. You're just
I'm nice.
different
I'm
than
nice,
Fred.
But I've been told I'm a little intimidating.
Nah, come on.
gosh.
Nobody's ever said that.
Okay,
Whereas
Fred.
is a little bit more humble than I am. I think we can all agree.
You guys are funny. This is going to be fun today. Okay, York University, Bachelor of Environmental Studies.
Yep.
And 1997, that's the year I graduated high school.
I'm old.
That's the only,
okay, good.
only way I know you're older than me, because you don't look that old.
Oh, there you go.
You look young.
I lost this like 25 years ago, so I've looked the same age since then. So yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's funny.
I think I was like in grade 3 in 1997. So
You can just go away and walk out right now. Okay, so York University Bachelor of Environmental Studies sounds really exciting. It also said you IT specialist.
Yes,
So have you met my husband, Joe?
I have.
All right. So I call him an IT specialist. And he's like, I haven't done that in years. Tell me,
Yep.
you did a bit of IT with a whole bunch of different companies. And
Yeah.
at what point did you merge into thinking about real estate?
Oh, straight out of university, getting an environmental studies degree, the first thing to do is get an IT job, right?
Of course.
There were no jobs in the environment, so I always had the computer skill. I had a computer company many years ago.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, and I just started out working for Scotiabank and a few other big companies, just working IT.
Yep.
10 years passed, and I was with IBM, and I said, that's enough. I'm good at IT, but I don't like it anymore. And this was always my passion. Always real estate. I was always designing houses and just watching the market and being really involved. I did a few private sales of my own place. I don't want, and I told people that starting up that it is possible if you have a passion for it.
Yeah.
And that just jumped me into getting this license done and getting started. It's been a blast.
There you go.
10
You know
years.
what?
It's been
IT
10
is
years.
so helpful for real estate, though, because
Yeah.
you're ahead
Yeah.
of a lot of people with technology already. And I know Joe has that strength as well with IT. So you're kind of a computer nerd.
Yep.
Still. But you know what? The computer nerds are good. They're very useful.
Yep.
I wish I was a computer nerd, but I can't do anything. And then the phone, and Joe's just like, turn it off and turn it back on.
That's it. It works half the
Right?
time. Yeah.
You might be a nerd, but can you replicate a lightsaber on a video?
Have not done that.
Yeah.
Nope.
Did you see my video?
No.
Emily's latest listing.
What? No, I didn't.
Okay.
Oh, I got to check that out.
So having an IT guy working with me, it's kind of fun because I get these visions and I'm like, Joe, I have this vision.
Can you do it?
They have this Star Wars room downstairs. We're going to do a Star Wars video. And then he's like,
vision.
Nice.
oh, seriously? He's like, oh. But yeah, you got to catch it.
All right,
at
I'll
the
check
end.
it out.
So IT specialist and I have nerd here. We already went through that. Social media, target marketing, SEO. So that gives you a big advantage. And so you thought about getting a real estate license. You did your studying on the GO train.
Yeah.
You were still working at these other jobs.
Yep.
How quickly did you run through the courses?
It was 3.5, 4 months, and I was done them all. And again, back then it was only three courses to get started. So it was super easy to just hop on the GO train, you know, mindless, go through the books because it was books back then. And you have an hour there and an hour back and get the coursework done. It was quick. It was easy. It was
And that
fantastic.
was about 10 years ago. You got your license around 2010?
10 years ago, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wow.
amazing. And then, you traded in private real estate. So I think that's really interesting, the for sale by owner stuff that I read.
Yeah.
Because it gives you, tell us, you had a really good idea of how for sale by owners think.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think, oh, they're just being, cheap. They don't like realtors, but that's not always the case. There's a lot of different reasons why people go private.
Absolutely.
So were you selling private before you were in real estate, or?
Yeah, and it was only I was never contracting myself out to do that for people. It was always my own properties or immediate family, and it, like you said, it really gave me a perspective of that side of things. But even more important, it showed me how realtors treated private sellers. The knocks on my door that I got, the calls that I got.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I learned what I did not want to be when I got licensed by the way these people were approaching me. So it was eye-opening. It was a really great experience.
I used to love, in my first 10 years, I used to get a lot of private listings. And it was because I would show their listing. I would keep in touch with them. I was very respectful of their choices. I didn't try to make them feel bad or try to fight them on it. I would be the only one that stayed in touch, and that was nice to them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'd say, you know what? Other agents are calling us, giving us this attitude. You were the only one that respected why we chose this route, but you know what? We really want to get it on Realtor now, and we're going to pick you. Yeah. So, they're real people. So I like that angle.
That got me started too in my first couple of years too. I was helping people and giving advice, and they turn to you at the end because
they relate to you. They trust you. Build trust really quickly.
It was a big deal. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, very, very cool.
And I think we all, in the back of our mind, this is the first thing that I say when I meet a for sale by owner and they've finally decided me to come and sit down. It's like even when they bring it up in the listing presentation, I completely understand. Yeah. Because if you can try to do something yourself, especially if you don't really know too much about it, it can seem pretty easy on the face of it, right? And especially if the end result means that you're saving thousands of dollars. But as we go through the stats, we know that you're actually not saving thousands of dollars, but it's understandable.
We won't get into for sale by owners too much. We could do a whole hour on that. But definitely, it's really about selling your value, right? And maybe you probably saw doing that. Maybe realtors value a little bit. Like, well, if I had a realtor, they would be doing maybe this, this, and this. And when there's complications that come up and troubleshooting and knowing the contracts, putting amendments together, you're really relying on your lawyer to do that stuff.
Absolutely. Right? And I would take a look back at the work that I did, and it was nowhere near the level where it should have been. Sure, I got the deals done, but there were holes for sure. But you learn a lot over the years.
Wow.
Definitely.
Okay, so Fred, I want to get into about your team because from what I've read, only 2 years after you got your license is when you started growing a team. That's fast. Yeah. Like, I didn't start thinking of growing a team until I was 12 years in the business. And I do know some other people, though, at Revel growing teams under 5 years. But did you start taking off with your personal business that quickly where you had that much business going you needed to leverage? Or why did you first think about growing a team?
It was all in a necessity. I was lucky to have so much work, and the community was really great in their response to me and getting started. And a ton of work was coming in just because I was helping so many people. They were giving it back to me, and I had no choice. I had to get help. I couldn't do it on my own. I didn't want to burn out.
Right.
So I got an assistant almost right away.
Wow.
And then it was not the traditional team structure. It was, hey, I like you. We've worked together. You want to help me with this listing? And it gave me that sample of really how to work with people without following what all the books tell you about building a team.
Right.
Don't just have this structure, bring somebody on and make it the way it is. Work with people that you like and then see if something can develop over time.
Right.
And it worked out really well.
Yeah. And there's a balance act to that as well between how my first team turned out and how my second team turned out. And you know what? I did it completely off the book. But I think, as well, you probably took bits and pieces from what you've learned.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just finding that mesh and those right people to choose from. So
for sure.
I'm really big on leveraging and work-life balance. You know
I
that.
suck at that. Still learning.
I'm not going to say I've achieved it,
Yeah.
but I'm always striving for it.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't have a team when I started leveraging. I just took someone in my office. I got so busy. I took somebody I trusted and they worked really well with me, and I trusted them with my clients, and just kind of unloaded a bunch of people that I couldn't service.
Yeah.
And that's how it started for me. So I didn't do a team right away. Would you say, Fred, a lot of people get into real estate in their first year, really struggle to grow the business? Was there one or two things that you would say helped you grow your leads and your sales in that first year? Did you have a big network? How did you let everybody know you're in real estate?
Good question. Just help people. Get out there and help people. There's the traditional training that says get your sphere of influence and contact people. I never went that route. I just got out there and I would be involved in the community, and we have an interruption. We'll just keep going.
That's okay.
I got involved.
We just keep going.
We just keep going. I got involved in the community, and it was all about just seeing what people needed help with. In Milton, there was a huge boom of new real estate, and a lot of people were first-time home buyers. They didn't know how to fill in their one-year Terrion form or do other things related to their home. So I was just helping them out with those questions. And a lot of this was in online forums, and people appreciated that because, again, I was giving my time just to genuinely help them. I didn't want them to get screwed by Terrion or by a builder or whatever, because I was in that position before. And I did no sales pitch, nothing at all. And people would, again, just come naturally back to me. And that's how that quick start happened, is just get out there, give time to people, help people genuinely care about them and their well-being, and they'll want to give you business.
So you're building the relationships and earning trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at the end of the day, people want to work with somebody they trust. Right? Because you could have 20 years experience or 1 year experience. And I think if they trust that you're going to go the extra mile for them and find the answers for them, even if you don't have all that experience. Because in the first year for me, I had a hard time with I'm new. What do I know? I haven't sold a lot of houses, but people connected with me and trusted that I was going to take care of them. If I didn't have the answers, I was going to find the answer, and I was going to hustle. So you have a good first impression when people meet you. That's why you're so likable. We're like,
well, there you go.
We love Fred. He's the best. Do we know anything about Fred? Not yet, but we really like Fred. And I'm sure that people had that impression of you when you were meeting them online, getting on the phone for the first time.
Yes.
Did you do open houses? Open houses?
No, I didn't do other agents' open houses. None of that. It was all just offering help to people. And when I was going up against other agents for a listing, first time you go in, I was lucky because I already had that trust. And the three other agents that were going into interview, they were just showing up because they, dropped a business card off or whatever, and there was no background there. These people that called me saw my help online helping others, or I'd helped them in the past. And it was just really simple because they already trusted me.
I understand this. So you used, the Fred's help was from the beginning.
That was my brand from the beginning.
That was your brand from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's a really smart brand, really. And so you're using that brand, and how were you advertising that brand to reach these people to get those appointments?
I wasn't. So there were online forums long before Facebook.
Right.
They're message boards.
10 years ago, there were online forums?
Forums.
Yes, forums, yes.
Forums.
Forums. Not forms, forums.
Right. Oh,
Thank
forums.
you.
Okay.
Forums,
Okay,
sound
okay.
check,
I got
forum.
it.
There you go. And there were just people asking questions.
Okay.
It was like Facebook groups 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yep.
Got it.
Before Facebook. And they would just come online and ask a question. So the first person to jump on with an answer would be me.
Yep.
And I was on there as much as I could be, just helping people out.
So you were doing something different.
Yes, very
When other agents were doing ABC, because that's all they knew.
And that's all they were taught.
Thinking out of the box. You were getting on these forums. You were trying to find people that needed help. You were offering help with your branding. And your first impression was bang on. And then they trust you and they hire you. Well, that's brilliant.
And so I missed, this was like while you were licensed, not before when you were helping.
Even before.
Even before.
Leading up to it, yeah. If I would have started that the day I was licensed, it would have taken a lot longer to get started. You would have been far behind. Yes, that's right.
Understandable.
Oh my goodness. So you quickly, your first team member was it Gabriella?
No, my first team member. Oh my gosh.
I read this.
My first team members are
Michael?
not around anymore.
Oh.
No. You have
I'm
all this
failing.
You have all this good stuff that people stay with me for a long time, but I have people that started with me at the beginning that were great at the time, but then we just grew apart.
Okay.
So
that happens. I've had people grow apart or start their own thing or they just grow out of the team. So, okay. But you have a small team right now.
Yes.
You don't have this big team.
No.
I've had the big team. All these people on the boards. I like how you have a small team. Tell us the benefits of a small team versus a big team.
Big benefit is that I still get to be involved in everything.
Yeah.
So if a client calls and Fred is on the sign, they get Fred. And to some people, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
There's a downside to that, but the upside is when I go in for that listing presentation, they've called because of the brand, they know they're getting myself and at least one of my other team members. We're going in there together to work together from the start to the end. That's been it's a great benefit, but it's also a problem in terms of delegation. So there's a downside to it.
So you pull in a team member for every listing?
Almost
like
every
listing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. I've done that. I do that from time to time, but not with every listing. I'll pull in a team member sometimes as a co. Okay, that's interesting. Because I did see that on your last podcast that every appointment you go to, you bring somebody.
Almost always.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing. So you're also giving more probably attention to those team members, one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Training.
Yeah.
Why?
They don't have to go out and get their own business. It's good if they do, but we work together. So back when before the last office closed, we would be in there every single day, and it's 9 a.m. start at the beginning of the day, and what's everyone working on today? And it was a very joint effort, and we would work on everything together. And again, it might not be good for me to step away from the business and delegate more, but it's just the way our team works really, really well.
Yeah.
Okay. And you gave Gabriella was young. She just got her license.
Yes.
What did you like about her? Did you see her connecting with people? Was it her personality? Because sometimes you see people and you're like, I know they're going to be good.
There's a personality type that thinks they know everything. Big shot. She's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
You could tell she was a sponge from the start.
Yeah.
And she wanted to come in and learn so much and just give everything to her clients. And that is an easy person to work with because you just teach them what you're doing, they copy it, they work with you, and it's like you're the same person.
Well, they're humble and they're open-minded. So as you know, I had the training department. So I meet with almost every new agent that joins Revel has a one-on-one meeting with me. It's like they can't get in without sitting down with Emily Berry and talking for a full hour.
That's good.
And I get to know them, and I do.
Surprised you have a voice left.
What did you say?
Surprised you have a voice left.
I do. I know. I have a voice. I know. But no, and I love it. I love getting to know everybody because I know there's not a Revel agent I don't know. Like I really,
impressive.
Yeah, because there's a lot now. But going totally blank right now.
I interrupted you. Sorry.
You interrupted me.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were
Let's
talking
just do
about-
like a segment here.
Oh, we have 11 minutes, so no breaks. We're going to continue.
What do you want to do next?
I had some good thoughts, but let's just move on. So team members, they stuck with you for a long time, share responsibilities. I think I was thinking of Gabriella. And being open-minded because sometimes they come in and they know it all. This was where I was going. They sit there and they're like, I got this. I know all these people. I have all these connections. I've got all these diplomas behind me. I'm overeducated. And I just sit there and I'm like, oh, this is great, right? But it's that one piece they have to connect with people.
Yep.
They have to be convincing. People have to want to work with them. And I think I met her at the skills camp.
Yes, that was the first time you met her.
Yes, and she was lovely, and I talked to her for quite a while after, and I remember walking away thinking, wow, it would be really cool if she was at Revel. Not knowing that this year you guys are going to be with Revel. Yeah. Okay, Andrew, let's throw some Revel in there because you're good at that.
Okay,
Let's talk
well, you know
about
what?
why
Actually,
Revel.
Now is good time for a break, everybody.
Or I'll take a break.
Actually, my clock is off and Cameron's is. Okay, everyone, we're back. Thanks for sticking with us.
That's awesome. That makes up for my blank moment. That was good.
Thanks for sticking with us. I don't know if we put commercials in through the medium that you're watching, but thanks for
that was a
for
great
tuning in
commercial,
afterwards anyways.
Andrew.
So Revel's 9th office, right? So I got to be careful because all my listing presentations, all Revel
I know, me
content,
too.
everything
So fast.
that
5
comes in,
office,
we're like,
6,
hey,
7.
let's go print all this stuff off. And, oh, yeah, by the way, that's out of date. We just did it last week.
I
Anyways,
know.
So
I had to count the 9 on my hands. I was like,
yeah.
no.
Now you're not able to count.
Yeah, I know.
But we can't talk about that. Or can we? Anyway.
What?
This is
Okay.
not about that.
Let's
This
not
is
go
about
there.
This. So 9th office, Revel's 9th office. They try. They decide to go with Big Fred. I call you that, Big Fred.
Sure,
They call
no
all
one
our
has ever
Revel
done that, but
Big
you
John,
have.
Big Fred. But the whole point here is that not only did we want to invest in a community, we wanted to invest in somebody like yourself, and you've obviously got strong morals, strong ethics. But let's talk about the community of Milton for a second. For those of you who don't know what Milton is, where Milton is, can you explain a little bit about the community, the location in GTA into Niagara, stuff like that?
Yeah, sure thing. It is west of Mississauga. Mississauga is just west of the 416 Toronto core. So we are about 40 minutes from downtown, and I'm about 55 minutes from here from the Niagara region.
That's a sweet spot.
Straight shot across from Brantford, right in the heart of where a lot of the development is happening in the GTA, which is great. So it's been a fantastic spot to have a real estate business.
Okay, and then so what is is it a newer community? Is there a mix? Is it farm? Is it rural?
It was a core until the 80s with its big boom, and then until the mid to late 90s, builder came in and said, "We're building here."
Yeah.
And the water pipe came in from Toronto and Lake Ontario, and the development went nuts since the late 90s. So ever since then, it has been, I don't know how many, 10,000 people a year, something like that. Population's over 100,000 now. But it was its own little pocket for such a long time.
Right.
Quaint little town with a downtown Main Street, and then it just boomed.
Right.
So it's been crazy ever since.
Is there those typical real estate offices that have been there for a while and you're going to be coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there was a need for something fresh and new in your community.
Oh, absolutely. There you go. Good segue. I like it.
I segue good.
Brantford, Barrie, Niagara, they're all these
I heard
towns
Milton. I was
that,
so excited. I was so excited.
really could use someone like you, Fred. So go ahead, say that. What were you saying?
I was done.
I have a question
go
though.
ahead.
Okay,
Yes.
let's go to Revel. So
Okay.
when did you first hear about Revel Realty? Who did you meet first? What kind of captured your attention with Revel? And were you thinking of even opening something?
If I answer that question honestly, this guy's head is going to be going like this if it isn't already.
It's normal.
'Cause
It's okay. He can handle it. I can handle it.
he was the first guy I met at Revel, and then I did my research after that to learn
Yeah.
about a bunch of you other people there. And
How did you meet this guy? On
how
forums?
Did I meet you?
Well, 100%.
How do you
social
know
media,
everybody?
Obviously, social media.
Okay, yeah.
But
We hadn't met in person until I don't know when it was.
was either an event before the podcast or the podcast?
When did you guys do the
Was it
podcast?
earlier than the podcast?
I think it was earlier
Maybe.
than the podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Podcast was just over a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when was the Kathleen Black event? That's
that was
where we
last
met.
Fall, November.
Last fall.
or
That's-
December. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
Andrew networks. He knows everybody.
He sure does. And even though he's the recruiter. I never felt like I was talking to a recruiter, which is great. I felt like I was talking to an honest guy that really likes where he is and is open about that. And everything I got from him was not recruitment at all. It was, this is the way we work, and I loved it from the start.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Did you see any of our videos? Did you snoop us and watch stuff?
Of course. I Google stalked all of you. Yeah, for sure. I got to know what I'm getting into here.
There's a lot of stuff on Google Stock.
Yeah.
Like old pictures and old logos. Just like Googling Revel Realty and images. And
found a lot of stuff. Yeah, and it's the young vibe. It's the culture. It's the modern technology.
Yep.
And it's the standards that really the brokerage sets for people to live up to, as opposed to just letting everybody do their thing and dealing with problems afterwards. When the standards are high, everyone lives up to those. It's a really, really good fit.
And not anybody can open up a Revel. Like we really look for a good fit for somebody. And I'm sure there was a meeting presentation with all of the information. But I think it's really cool how people see us out there. I do. Because people say that all the time. You guys are different. You guys are fresh, new, innovative. And to grow so big to 9 offices and to still maintain that is hard. Like, that's a lot of effort, I think, on management. Because they're really tightened up with, if you're opening a Revel, here's what you need to do. And there's this whole package and now a policy, guidelines to opening a Revel. Whereas before, when we were small, we didn't have all that established. I think you're a great fit. What's your plan on growing in Milton? So you have a virtual office right now.
Yep.
Looking for a location?
Yeah, I had a team office before just for my team. And then we closed that down because we had plans for this year that I already figured would be in the works. So I'm looking for that new location to open up, and I want to grow only the Revel piece. So although my own team has done really well, I don't want to grow my own team. I might add 1 or 2 people here and there based on how much work there is. But I don't, you see all the training manuals and all the books and all the research education. They say if you're at this many deals, go here next, go here next, go here next. Well, I've been there and I want to come back. I want to stay at a level where it's comfortable for me, my family, my team, everybody's happy, but at the same time, spend the extra time I have helping other people grow their business. And by bringing people into Revel Milton looking for something different, I can support them as the head coach there. I can help them grow their business, but not adding to my own transactional workload. And for me, that's the ideal situation for growth. That's where I want to be.
I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, like work-life balance, because you're adding a whole other dimension now as head coach of Revel. So I think that makes a lot of sense, not wanting to grow your team and really status, like my business is going well. I have people I'm happy with that I can leverage. This is going well. And now shifting your focus to Revel and head coach.
Something bigger.
That makes a lot of sense because you have to balance it out.
And we do that on smaller scales at Revel too. And so like when I meet people and I know they're going to be a good fit, they have different visions for how they want their business to look in 2, 3, 5 years. And, from the head coach perspective, yes, but like from also finding realtors that want a little bit more, but maybe don't want to add to more transactions. You could become a mentor, management, things like that, right? So it's not only now about finding a new head coach, but somebody who wants to take on that middle range and offer a little bit more purpose than what they were doing on their own.
That's one of the things I love from the start, seeing everybody's roles on the Revel site. It's not just broker of record and back office staff and sales representatives.
Right.
There's so many people that have a secondary role. Your secondary role is massive. It's like you have more than a secondary role.
Have you read my title?
It's
like I just say I do the training. Because it's like
it's a lot more than
I remember Ryan coming up with my title years ago, and he's like, "I think this sounds good. The Director of Realtor Growth and Development. That sounds so good." I'm like, "That sounds amazing, but I can't say that fast. Like that's a lot." So I just say I'm head of the training department. But and we like to promote within and just watch people and see what they're good at. And we all have different
we
roles.
offer that opportunity. It's what it is, right?
It's a helping culture. It's everyone wants to see the betterment of everyone around them, as opposed to that kind of, I don't want to use the word backstabbing, but that's not here. You don't get
Right.
that here.
It's a competitive industry.
That's a better way to. Yeah.
It's a competitive industry. I tell agents coming in, sometimes they come in from other professions and they're shocked a couple months in at just the competitive nature of it and how it's not, sometimes it's not super friendly.
I've lost deals at the printer before at other places.
Yeah.
I've been at offices that are not friendly. You walk in and no one really cares that you just sold some houses. They're not patting you on the back. You're their competition.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of market. So like, it's that kind of industry. And I think that's one thing at Rebel from the start. We're like, we all have to work together. We have to share our ideas. Now that we're so big and we have so many people, again, just really trying to maintain that is an effort. But I think for the most part, the Rebel agents feel that.
Yeah,
I think they do.
It shows.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So lots more we can talk about. As a leadership, Fred, as a leader in your community, on your team, this year has been a challenge. And we were discussing before the podcast how we had a bit of a break when COVID hit us in the spring.
Yeah.
And tell us about kind of that first week of the state of emergency when we all got shut down. We were all kind of in shock a little bit. Just what you were thinking, how you shifted at home with your business.
The big thing for me was figuring out what the team wanted and seeing if we were all aligned.
Yeah.
I personally wanted to shut everything down. We had one last minute listing that had to sell.
Yeah.
It had to sell. So that was a job that had to get done. We got that done, but as opposed to new clients and people that were looking for assistance, I personally wanted to shut it all down. Just, there's things that are more important and we don't know how big this is going to get.
Right.
So first thing we did is we had a team meeting and we talked about it. And it turns out everyone felt exactly the same.
That's good.
And it was a load off because for me, I'm okay taking a break. I didn't want to let anybody else down thinking we needed a break.
Yeah.
So we talked about it in detail. We decided to all step back. There's more important things. Concentrate on family, concentrate on health.
Yep.
We'll get right back to it when we can. And it was the best decision for us. I know a lot of people didn't go that route because they had their own best decision, and that's fine.
Yep.
But I was loving it. A lot of people had their best, most productive year with the highest GCI. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
For me, I had a year where things were very different. I got 2 months with my family, and we were stuck in the house, so I wasn't, gallivanting around the world on great vacations. But it was a really great time just to pull everything in, reflect, think about direction, and then reset and start again. So I'm kind of happy with that.
It was an interesting time with our industry. We weren't getting a lot of black and white instructions from our governing bodies. Right. So it was very difficult. Like my mother works at the region, my cousin works for the school board. They had instructions on what was happening, right? Whereas real estate agents, the only thing we were not allowed to do was open houses. Yeah. Right. Really, it was kind of a free-for-all. Like, depending on your level of safety measures that you want to implement in your business, here's what we recommend, but there was nobody enforcing it.
Nobody taking
responsibility. I tend to, I think my team reacted similar. We had a few meetings during that time. And I just remember going on the meetings and they were over Zoom, of course, and just the looks of just like just people were scared.
Yeah.
I was scared, and just meeting together and say, we're going to get through this together. But there was this sense of like, well, I want the business still. I don't want to turn the business away. Someone else is going to get it if I'm not willing to list that house. Yeah. It was a very tough time because the business slowed down for most of us. Which means our income was going to be slowing down. So that was financial fears creeping in. And then we did see, I think a lot of us did see some people take advantage of that time.
And my wife and I had a long conversation about this when it started. And I said, you know what? Our team is going to lose business to people that are still pushing, that are still willing to work. And, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. Good for those people that wanted to push. It was our turn to just step back. Yep.
So you spent time with family.
I did, yeah. And that's it. But yeah, I did. Some interesting cooking stuff.
Yeah,
that we did at home. Yeah. Not your adventurous, not as adventurous as you.
Yeah, we did.
Not as good as my cooking.
No, not as adventurous as yours.
Yeah. Pie? Were you cooking pie?
Oh my God, we did everything.
Yeah,
we did everything.
I think
banana cream pie.
I messaged you for a recipe, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yes. What was it?
You were watching some of my little stories, and then you were commenting every once in a while because I would post a story about trying to make sauce.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I think you would comment like, well, try this, try that. And I say, I need sauce recipes. And I think you and one other person sent me a recipe. Then I made sauce the next week.
That's right. Yeah.
But we spent time with the family. We had a lot of walks. It was, I think we'll all look back on this year and this time as they'll write books about this. It
Absolutely.
was just a wild real estate market as well. So coming to a complete halt, operating at about 30%. I don't know if it was the same near Toronto
Probably,
and GTA.
yeah.
I remember probably in April and May, looking at the sales going, we should be like quadruple this. Like this is ridiculous. Like it was operating so low. Now fast forward.
Now we're in spring market.
What's
September.
Milton like right now? So
Oh, my God.
Niagara market, we've talked about that a lot. Tell us what's going on in Toronto and Milton with the market.
Milton is nuts. I won't even talk about Toronto because the condo market and rentals is totally separate. It's its own beast from where I am.
Yeah.
And it has its own challenges with Airbnb and things changing.
Are you a lot of new construction, detached?
No, don't do a lot of new construction. It's recently built resale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So resale, but like newer kind of.
Newer builds, yeah.
Okay.
And it has just been insane. The past 3 months has been insane. And it's spring market that happened instead of February, March,
It's a
April.
buildup of people.
Yeah, it's
all
everyone that's
coming
one.
out.
Yeah. And we're still having multiple offers. I just sold a place with 10 offers 2 days ago. And I brought my buyers to another place that actually had 140 showings in 5 days. And they ended up with 24 offers. We didn't bid on that one.
What's your average price point up there?
For a detached, say
800?
detached double car garage house is right around $1 million now and up.
Wow.
The single car detached are $850 and up. And the townhouses are, the traditional 2-story townhouses are all in the 7s and up.
So
and it's-
are you prepping all of your sellers for multiples?
Was.
You were.
Yes. I don't know where things are going to be now that school is starting next week and people have other pressures on their mind. I've been telling my seller clients that, we should do this now because with the news cycles changing every couple of weeks, we don't know what's happening with the stock market and the health news. So let's do this now because when everyone goes back to school, traditionally we see the end of summer being the slow period. And I'm sure you guys have the same thing here.
August is always my slowest month.
There you go.
Yeah.
This has been the highest month in sales for me this year, which is
Yeah.
completely backwards.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say we don't know what's going to happen this fall.
No, that's right.
We're at the mercy of the government. We're at the mercy of our COVID
virus.
numbers.
Yeah.
And I think how people react, because there's a lot of media involved and people
Yep.
some stories come out, everyone gets scared. And I think we just have to see. I can't see it going down, but I think we might balance out for a little bit. It's possible.
And I'm hoping for a balance. I'm hoping we start
Yeah.
to see a balance in the Milton market, just so our buyers can have a little bit more of a chance at things.
I know.
Balance
Buyers
is
are
better
at
for
such a
everybody,
tough
for
time.
sure. Yeah.
So you work with buyers and sellers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of your team too. Everyone
Yep.
just works together.
Yes, I don't have dedicated buyer agent. I don't have
Right.
a dedicated listing agent. It's got to be you're willing to do everything or
Yeah.
Okay.
you got to do it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting, eh? The difference of markets still. Niagara's still a lot more affordable than
It's
those
still a
areas
lot
up
more
there.
affordable, but doesn't change anything when the competition is still so high.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if you can
true.
afford a $400,000 house, that's great, but
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to be able to buy it.
Our prices have gone up a lot the last 3 months alone.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you have to keep up when we're pricing out homes right now. You can't just dig sales in the last 6 months.
No, it's
You have to
30
really
days.
analyze what was
Yeah.
going on this month
Yep.
for them to get that price. What was the demand like,
Yeah.
and then try to figure. Yeah, it's tricky right now to price, but. Okay, guys. Yeah. Well, we don't know what's happening this fall.
We'll prepare our clients and do what we can to be ahead of the game,
Absolutely.
right?
Each
Fred,
day.
virtual open houses. You were one of the first people that started virtual open houses that I saw.
Okay.
Because when I was thinking of starting to do virtual open houses,
Yeah.
I was doing research, and there was somebody in California doing them, and then
Yeah.
there was some girl in Vancouver, and then Fred.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Nice.
I saw 2 of yours, and then I brought a lot of those different ideas into Revel, and I did a virtual open house class.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so I've done
Yeah.
several very successful virtual open houses in Milton right now. Since we're allowed to open house in person,
Yeah.
are people starting to open house up your way?
There are maybe 1 or 2 signs, and that's it.
Us too, right? It's not a big thing still.
In terms of the virtual open house, there's that field on the realtor or the broker system where you can put in your virtual open house link for a certain time. I don't see the point to that. Let's just create the media platform, film it whenever you want. You can have it interactive by having people message you. Again, technology nerd, it's all in here, so I have some pretty cool tools for that.
Okay.
But just do it as early as you can and then blast it out. And then you can
use
have
it as a tool, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
As a virtual tool.
Yeah.
I do go live at a certain time. I might be doing one this Friday with Anthony Fior. I might. We'll do it live and we'll advertise it. We might not get that many people join, like 40 people maybe.
Oh, that's fantastic.
30 people.
In our market, we wouldn't get anybody.
They would maybe 25. I found I was getting high numbers when everyone was on lockdown because everyone was home. So I'd get 50, 60 people join.
That's fantastic.
And then it goes on my Facebook page and gets thousands of views the next several days. I could hit 1,000 views like in a couple hours. But now I find there's probably about 20 to 25 people join. But it's more of you use that video to continue marketing the property after. It goes on your Facebook page. I like virtual open houses.
Yeah.
Nobody's there. I don't have to be, I have to be on time. Sometimes if I don't start on time, I start getting Joe Barry call me. He's like, why aren't you live yet? I'm like, I'm running a few minutes late. Leave me alone. he stays on top. Okay. So open houses is, I wonder if we're going to see more this fall.
Yeah, I certainly hope we don't. I don't think it's necessary until everything is in the clear and everyone's being more social. And
that's what I'm telling my sellers right now. It's just not necessary.
And
the qualified buyers that are wanting to buy and get in a house right now are booking with their agent, right?
And most of the sellers at a first meeting, they're asking me if I do open houses, and I say normally yes, but right now no. And they've all so far said, "Oh, great, thanks, good to know." Yeah, because if you market it well, we don't want 50, 100 people coming through, that aren't even qualified buyers. Yeah.
Okay, Fred, do you have any goals, like 1-year goals for your Milton office, like to grow? What is your recruiting plan?
That's setting me up
In
for
5
failure.
minutes.
Let's fast forward 1 year. What would your Revel Milton look like ideally?
1 year, there would be the construction on the office would be behind us. It would be done. I think 1 year is too soon to say where I want to be, but I know just a little bit after that. Ideally, I'd like to add a couple of people, just one to my team. And that may already be in the works, depending on when this airs. And maybe a couple of people that are new to Revel, but separate from my team. So if it's just more than a year from now, maybe a year and a half, I can see there being a handful of new people under the Revel umbrella. And I may have to bring in a second admin at that time. My current admin and client care manager, who is awesome, Janet, she is getting licensed. So she's going to be a licensed member of the team as well. So we'll have to backfill her position. I don't see it being a crazy operation with a bunch of people running around, but a little bit of growth and just really concentrating on mostly the clients. And see if I can slowly start to grow the brand in Milton. And then after that, if we're talking like 2 to 5 years, I can see it growing a lot bigger. But for the start, I'm just going to keep it small.
We have a lot of great marketing for you to lean on, right? When I started at Revel, it was so new where we had a logo. Like we had a logo, we had a really cool glass office, and we had some, a nice website, but it was brand new. So our locals were like, what's Revel? What's this? So we had to sell it to them. Like, here's why you should list with us. Here's what's different about us. And I didn't have any like colorful digital feature sheets or videos to show them, right? So I look back and my clients, my database followed me to Revel because they were like, you're the business, your customer service we enjoy, whether you're this color sign or this color sign, we're going where you go. So I already had an established business, but for newer agents to sell it, I think it's great how you have so much more than we did. Coming in, because we have Cheyenne that does all of she's whole bunch of, she's fantastic. You've got really beautiful brochure booklets. You have all these videos. There's an amazing website. When I go to meet people at their house, I go to the Revel website a lot.
Yeah.
So I have this other thing I do.
Revelmedia.ca as well.
Yeah, I just play some videos and just show them, and they can actually feel the culture and feel like what it's all about by like a couple of different videos I go to. So that's cool. You guys have that stuff.
And the online booking thing is cool too.
Well, I'm going to have to learn.
While I got my computer up, let's book those photos and videos. And, the clients love it because it's super convenient.
Nice.
And, we can work around their schedule.
Yeah, so I'm still learning all of this stuff. It's been great so far.
Well, don't worry. We'll get you acclimated to everything that we have at our disposal.
Nice.
But you know what, guys? This is going to be, this is it. The show's done. So,
there you
See,
go.
we talked so much.
That one went really fast. I mean, they all do. But any closing remarks? Anything that you guys want to say?
I got nothing. This has been great. Yeah, thank you.
I'm
guys
excited for
having
the
me
next
on.
year. I mean, we have challenges this year, but there's also a lot of great things that have come out of this year. And having new offices open, I think is so exciting. I'm excited for you to learn more about Revel and meet more people. There's a lot of people to meet. I know you know us and this guy over here everyone knows him.
I'll be playing him one-on-one at the Revel basketball court at some point, so we got to do that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's
when
always
the events
fun.
come back. It's all the new offices are going to really know what Revel's about. We try to do it our best virtually.
Our first Revel event together will be. We'll probably be all like just tearing up.
We'll just have to get like a central spot now. We'll have to go.
We've
to,
never
like,
gone this long
Mississauga
without
or
having a
something.
gala.
Yeah.
Like Revel's about
Revel's
the
gala,
girls buy dresses. Like
girls
we got the
buy
gala
dresses.
coming in, we got to go buy
Cirque du
dresses.
Soleil comes.
There's
Not
all
to get
kinds
political,
of-
but Trudeau wouldn't have to bail them out. It'd be us. We'd be able to do it.
Oh man,
And
you're so funny.
We love it.
We know how to throw a party. So once we can throw a party again,
It's
I
back
don't throw
on.
the party. I do not get involved in the party throwing. That is head management. That's actually.
from the office?
I'm gonna give a shout out to
Party
Nikki
planning
Saravelli because Nikki Saravelli really is responsible for all of our awesome, amazing events.
Yeah.
But she's got some great help this year coming in too. So our next event's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and the back office is growing big. You just hired a couple more people, I hear, and things are just getting better and better.
I just keep
It's
walking
just
in like, who are you? Who are you? Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, well, Fred, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Emily,
guys.
Of course,
It was great.
Thank you very much, all the listeners out there. I couldn't do it without you, and I certainly wouldn't want to. So thank you very much.
All right.